Hello, my friends. God bless you. Welcome back to Traveler of the Wood. I've had a couple of people recently ask me to do a breakdown of politics or my political views. There's a reason I don't talk about politics on the channel, and that reason is that my channel would probably no longer exist if I talked about politics on this channel. And that isn't to say that my political views are that extreme or obscure. It's just that they don't fit in any sort of modern cultural narrative. And cultural controllers that monitor these platforms would certainly not appreciate that. But I have mentioned on the channel before that I'm a monarchist. But at the same time that I'm a monarchist, I recognize that no man, at least here in America, is worthy of being king over everybody. And because of this, us men, have to become the kings that we want to see in the world. I feel like that call has gone out to many men throughout history, but very few have actually been able to answer that call. But in modern times, a lot of things have changed. And the philosophical problems we face, the cultural problems that we face, none of these are going to be addressed by any sort of political solution. There is no political solution that's going to fix the mess that we're in right now. I know in a previous video I talked a little bit about my idea of micro-monarchy. I don't know if people actually understood that right, because I had a couple of people message me and tell me all the reasons they think that's bad. And I don't think I was very clear on it. All micro-monarchy is people uniting with a tribe that shares their beliefs. That's all it is. And the reason I call it micro-monarchy is because when you have a group of people that are getting together to live, forge a life together, there has to be a hierarchy. There has to be. And a lot of the more anarchist types disagree with that and think that everyone can just self-govern individually, and then everyone that they're around will just get along. And humans just don't work like that. We're tribal by nature, but we also respect hierarchy. And in earlier forms of humanity, it was the biggest, baddest dude that was kind of the leader. And, we see this in primate cultures and things like that. But to use the primate culture actually as an example, so many people think that monarchy equals fascism, and they hate that. And that's a very American mindset, and it's very incorrect. But they just assume, great leader is going to be this evil, corrupt person that just bullies everybody. Primate societies, if you have a leader that becomes a tyrant, that leader gets ripped to shreds pretty quick. Literally, as in violence. And that doesn't work out. So typically, healthier primate societies, their leader is someone that recognizes the importance of that role and treats people ultimately fairly. Now, we're talking on a very primate level here. And humans are way more complex than that, so there's a lot more nuance when it comes to human culture. But micro-monarchy, just in my view, is the only thing that I think will work going forward. And the reason I say that is because there's too many people being forced to live around each other. If you've followed the channel for any length of time, you know that I am quite against this idea of multiculturalism. I'm quite against the idea of melting pot terminology. It just simply does not work. And if you have eyes to see, you recognize that it does not work. And I know a lot of people that are more politically aligned on the left furiously cling to this idea as, no, this is our strength. This is what's going to make everything work out. despite it constantly causing massive problems. It's really just interesting to see that happening in modern times. But aside from that, I've mentioned this self-segregation idea. It's not just racially self-segregating, it's ideologically self-segregating. Because there are people that just straight up love the idea of multiculturalism. They want to live in a city where they can go encounter all the different cultures of the world in one place. And for those people, great. If that's what they want, that is great, but there needs to be a place for that. It doesn't need to be the entire surface area of our country, that's for sure. So in my opinion, the only real solution is for our country to isolate into smaller groups and have leadership that's reflective of those groups' values. I feel like this happened a lot in medieval history, even earlier than medieval history, I should just say early history. But I think for where we are now as a country, this is going to be the most stable thing going forward. Now, is this dream of mine going to happen? Probably not. It's going to have to get way worse before people start actually realizing that this might be the only answer. But I find it odd. I've had a couple of comments recently talking about how I'm just clearly a fascist. Anybody that says that never gives you really a list of reasons why you're that. They've heard me say keywords like race realism, for instance, and they go, oh, clearly fascist, Nazi, evil, blah, blah, blah. There's going to be those people always, And I have a feeling people like that are part of the reason that I kind of got mass reported back in the day, and some other stuff have happened to assorted channels and outlets that I have on the internet. But this is why I don't like talking about politics really on this platform, because people get way too amped up over it. They treat politics now as if that's the only thing that matters. And this is more geared toward people on the left, but people on the left, that is their entire reality, is their political narrative. And they cannot possibly fathom anything outside of their political narrative, and anything they've been trained to automatically look at any idea outside of their ideology as evil, fascist, Nazi, blah, 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 all this stuff. So for me personally, I don't want to associate with leftist types because nothing productive comes out of that. But this isn't just to completely hate on leftists either, because there are plenty of people on the right who are equally as retarded when it comes to politics or just political ideas or philosophy. You have these people that think that Trump, because he's in office, has now magically waved a wand and solved all of their problems and the entire country's problems, when, as with most politicians, he said he was going to do a bunch of stuff, got in office, doesn't do any of it, and everyone is just in the same position that they were in before he took office. This happens with every president, though, and people are just shocked every time this happens, and it just blows my mind, because it's like there's a pattern here. And if you look at the pattern, nothing is going to change. Nothing's ever going to happen. No one's ever going to get arrested that actually needs to be arrested. And it's just, it's all lies and deceit. Our country right now is being held up by pillars of lies and deceit. And that's a very fragile state for a country to be in, especially a country this large. So I think that a lot of things are rapidly changing as far as political discourse and as far as people's perception of politics. And I think that is going to cause some changes coming up in the near future. But at the same time, I don't want any part of this. I'm tired of American politics. I love living in America. I love being an American. The American political structure is completely wrong. It's completely atrocious. And quite frankly, it's all bullshit. I would love if everyone would start to understand that, but they're not going to. So I'm not holding my breath on the American political structure changing overnight, especially, but just changing pretty much in general. So I think people are going to have to change it from the inside. People are going to just have to naturally start doing things that are going to be more representative of their values, as opposed to waiting on someone at the top to do it, because that person at the top is not going to do it. That's my politics in a nutshell. Of course, I'm leaving out a lot of my personal political opinions on this, but this is just kind of how I see it so far. Is the political structure of America going to change in my lifetime? I would like to think so, and I would like to think that we're getting close to an event horizon where things will change. But I don't want to hold my breath on it, because if I hold my breath and just stay glued to the internet waiting for any news of the big change, I'm never going to do anything else with my life. So I have other things to focus on in my life, my family, for instance, and this is what everyone should be focused on more than the world. You know, I've talked about this before, but there's this macro view versus local view perception. And the internet has caused everyone to be stuck in the macro view perception, which is where you do nothing but worry about everything else that's outside of your direct experience. And the left is incredibly guilty of this, and so much so that they actually stop caring about their local community and family and people to worry about other people that they don't know. And these people that they're worried about don't care at all about them. But yeah, so this macro view awareness is caused by the internet. Macro view perception is caused by the internet. And we as humans need to be able to have macro view awareness, because that's what allows us to care about people that we don't see regularly. We care about our, family that's in another state or something. And we can love other people, and we can, be concerned for the safety and well-being of others that are outside of our, direct domain. But we are not meant to live in this state all the time. There's only one being that can deal with living in that state all the time, and that's God himself. And of course, we are not God. We're not meant to live like this. Our mind, our psychology is meant to be predominantly in the local view. And the local view awareness is being concerned for our immediate surroundings. Basically, almost, I guess in a real early history sense, it was literally everything that's in your visual domain. It's your local family, your community, the people that you need to be loving and caring about. That's who you need to be loving and caring about. It isn't, people on the other side of the realm. That's not going to be helpful for anyone. So anyway, got off on a little tangent there. That's my breakdown of the political situation. And I'm sorry if that wasn't as exciting as people were hoping it was going to be. I'm not here on this platform to just dole out spicy takes. I'm not trying to be clickbaity. I'm not trying to be super edgy. It's funny because some people already think I am that just because I talk about race or whatever. But that's not my goal. My goal is to offer some insight, create some linguistic models to help people understand reality a little bit better. Anyway, for now, I think that's all I have to say on the subject. I appreciate all of you so much for watching my videos. It really means a lot to me that I have the amount of people listening to me on this platform as I do. A shocking amount of you who watch my videos are not subscribed to my channel. Like 80 or 90% of the views I have, especially on my long form videos, aren't subscribed. If you like what I'm talking about, it would be easier for you to keep up with me if you would subscribe. That would help me out a lot. And I've had like 18 new subscribers recently. So if you are here, welcome, and thank you so much for subscribing. It really does mean a lot to me. I have a Ko-fi account. If you're interested in that, there's links below. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you have a wonderfully blessed day. God bless you, and we'll see you next time.